get into. Yes, I trust leaders, you're doing well. Your week has started well, and it's good again to connect with you tonight. And we are glad as we continue to expand our knowledge base, and also continue to walk this journey of transformation. It's I believe that all of us are becoming better. Last week, I think we really had great conversation, and I think every conversation has been very unique, and we also look forward to another very, very unique conversation. I heard somewhere someone was saying that the greatest ignorance of our time is the unwillingness to learn and relearn. Yeah, the unwillingness to learn and relearn. That's the greatest ignorance of our time. And I think basically what it means is we are in a space where the changes that we're going through, the dynamics of the world are really shifting things so fast that we have to sometimes hold what we know with anticipation that it can change anytime, that things might shift and we might need to shift. So, and that's why last week we talked about becoming the triple loop learner. Remember the triple loop learner? Yeah, learning how to learn. That's one of the conversations we had last week. How do we become organizations that are learning how to learn? And those are very, very adaptive organizations. They're actually organizations that are very cautious in terms of when to change strategy. They adopt what we call an agile strategy so that you keep on adapting to your environment. So it's good to connect again, and straight away we'll make a prayer. Then we'll get to the conversation of tonight and see how it goes on. We have a lot tonight again, and we're ready to embark on that. So let's just say a prayer together. Heavenly Father, we are grateful, and we humble ourselves to you this night. We pray as we continue with this conversation. God, our desire is to become better in our leadership, become better in how we lead ourselves, how we lead the people that you have entrusted to us, how we lead the organizations the Lord you have entrusted to us. Our hearts are open to learn and also to be transformed. May you guide us, lead us, even as we continue with this session. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, so I think we'll just pick up, and I don't know if you had something that you were reflecting over the week from what we picked. I think that's always very important. This has always been our encouragement that in every session, just pick something that you can share with your team the coming week. So maybe today you could pick something that you can share with your team. Last week, probably you picked something that you are able to share with your team, because that's how we enjoin others in this journey of transformation. And probably before I invite our facilitator, I don't know if there is someone who may just wish to share a comment on how the journey has been. Is there something that probably you might have picked so far? There's something that maybe you have already started noticing in your leadership? And is there something that already probably a change that you have experienced, and maybe something that you have initiated within the organization? I would really just wish to maybe allow one or two people who would wish to just share a comment on that, and then after that we'll get to the conversation of tonight. Any volunteer who may wish to share your journey so far, probably something that you feel has been very touching, and maybe something that you have picked up, and maybe you are either implementing or you have already engaged your team on the same. Could I just allow some few minutes for that, and then we move on? Just feel free. You could just unmute and just continue. Just allow that space. Okay. Any volunteer? Probably, or I could invite someone just to share. Just feel free. Maybe I could invite Teresia. I don't know if there's something you can share so far. How has been the journey?
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening, Teresia.
I think my journey has been very positive, and I have really learned a lot on, especially the self-awareness, and I have realized I can see the challenges that I used to face and the fear that I used to have, and especially on leadership roles. You find that personally, whenever I am somewhere, you find that I would be pointed out. But because I know I'll be pointed out, I would maybe go late or avoid being at a place where I'll be seen. And I was wondering, why do I fear being given roles? And when I'm given a role, I'll undertake it. But I have come to see my weaknesses, and I'm really yearning to go forward, being courageous and confident, and also know that I'm unique, I'm authentic, and I'm there to make a difference, and also to be the greatest, the greatest global leader. Also being sensitive to who I am as a leader. I don't have to compare myself with people. I know there is much that is attached to what I'm saying that maybe brought such maybe inferiority complex or feeling like I cannot manage. But from now, as we started these lessons, I've seen where I have been making the mistakes and where I have seen my shortcomings. But since we started, I'm now bold enough, and I'm not like fearing to be in a place where I'll be appointed. And severally, even in my church, you find that there is even looking for me. Come preach. We have a certain session. Come and speak to us, which I was avoiding. I would say I'm busy, I cannot be found, but now I'm strongly standing for myself to also make a difference to myself first, change me first, then I'll be able to change other people. But if I am in a position, and that's what I'm saying, this lesson has come at a good time for me, because I'm being changed fast, I'm being transformed fast, so that even what I'm going to give to others will be also transformative. And I'm so grateful, and may God bless you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Teresia. That's really, could I say, it's very personal, but again, a very clear message in terms of the personal transformation, what we've been talking about in this masterclass. And I think I will just wish to invite maybe just someone to add into the comment of what Teresia has added. Either in terms of if you went through the same, maybe you had an experience of what Teresia has been going through, and now what she's transitioning to a new, should I say, to that other face of a leader who is very confident and very courageous. I don't know if there's someone who has gone through that and probably would just wish to add your voice into this, and also maybe just, I would also say, just be a source of encouragement to Teresia as much as already she's gone through that transformation. And for the sake of just ensuring that maybe we move a little bit faster, I would allow me just to volunteer someone, then we see how it goes. I will volunteer Maureen. Maureen, any comment you would share on what Teresa has just mentioned?
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
Okay. Sometimes when you have leadership skills, but you're a bit shy or a bit introverted, when you learn about leadership, you tend to come out of your shell, and it's the learning agility really helps to get you out of that shell. And such leaders, I think, tend to be very good leaders because at first they didn't believe in themselves, and now they have learned what leadership is all about, and they do what they have learned, not just out of a personality.
Yeah. Thank you, Maureen, and really appreciate on that. Tabitha, could you also add a comment on that, if possible? Then
Good
I'll continue
evening.
with Dennis. Yes, Tabitha. Good evening.
Yes. Okay, I would say that I'm really learning a lot. And I'm also learning that sometimes, as Teresia has said, you shy away from doing some tasks. Yes, whoever has chosen you sees that you can do it. Sometimes you're told to preach during a meeting. Sometimes you're told to some young men and boys invite you to go and preach in their school, and you're like, I'm not available. So after learning this transformative leadership, I've come to realize that whoever chooses you because he or she notices something in you that yourself you have not noticed. Then about the one for self-awareness, the personality test that you gave us, it gave me a lot. Imagine we were with one of my colleagues, and she was like, Kangeve, if I did this test also, I'll get the same results like you did. I'm Kangeve at my workplace. So we're like, I happened to have the results from that. So she was like, hey, you should introduce me to this group. I was like, you're late, but I'll make sure I inform you about it exactly. You join next time. So it's even an eye opener even to some of our colleagues who happen to see what you're doing. And I think in the end, we are going to become those transformative leaders that we should be. And we are going even to change the world from what you're going to run from here. It's quite a good program, and I'm really enjoying. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. And even just to note that already you are sharing what we are learning. That's our spirit. That's our conviction that whatever we learn is for sharing. It's for sharing. This week I was just having a chat with someone, and I was asking the person if I had not started this platform where we could share this knowledge, what would you do with all this knowledge? Probably even we would have stopped growing ourselves. But since we have a platform that allows us to share, then it keeps you growing. You have to always look at the notes in every class. You have to prepare yourself. You have to see what to add, and you have a platform just to continue pouring out what you know, and just making a difference wherever you are and sharing the knowledge. So Tabitha, I think I like that, and that's the spirit. Remember, they lacked. What am I learning? What am I acting on? Where do I change, and what do I teach? So if there's something that you've noticed which you can introduce to other people, well and good. Let me conclude with Dennis. This is sort of our breakout today, so we'll not have another breakout. Dennis, any comment you would share so far in terms of the journey or in terms of what Teresia mentioned? Just feel free.
Okay, thank you for this chance. I'm happy and excited to be among the readers that are willing and ready to run and learn. And I was just doing my SWOT analysis, and I realized some things that I think for a long time I could not distinguish and say, these are my weaknesses, and this came out strong, and I think it is one of the best. And one of the best things that I have learned is just being aware of who I am so far. And I have appreciated the aspect of self-awareness, knowing the weaknesses, my strengths, the opportunities, and all the threats that I may have as a reader. So it is a great experience, and I'm hoping by the end of the session, I'll be among those leaders who will bring transformations, not only locally, but also globally, having gained some knowledge and skills that are relevant in the leadership. Thank you so much, and I hope we maintain the same spirit of being strong and overcoming the challenges that are there. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you so much, Dennis, and all those who have shared, and the rest will also have some time also to hear from you. Otherwise, I think even undertaking a self-awareness is a demonstration of courage. We discover so many things that sometimes we fail to discover ourselves. We can make a lot of discoveries, and then we realize, wow, I didn't discover who I am and what I have in terms of strength, in terms of the weak areas or the areas of improvement, and many other things. So it's a good experience. We'll also want to, in between the lesson, just to get a feel of how was the personality test, which was your dominant personality quality, and what is your feeling about that? Do you agree? Do you feel like it really described you? Did you discover something from that personality test? But before that, allow me to invite one of us to take us through lesson 6. We're talking about leaders vis-a-vis managers. And this will actually expose you again, just to be able to know which side are you more inclined. Are you more inclined to management, or are you inclined to leadership, or are you a strong hybrid of the two? It's just an appreciation, one, just to appreciate, and then secondly, also just to be able to see, do we have a gap in terms of organizations? If you look around, do you see leaders? That's really what I would wish we focus on, even as we go through this discussion. So the person who is going to take us through this lesson is Teresa Mboro. Teresa Mboro is a human resource officer, specialist. She works at the Ministry of Energy, and she went through this masterclass, cohort 27, and she's been very, very much willing just to have an opportunity also to come and share her personal experience, and also work together with other leaders through these sessions, and see how we can continue just to enrich each other. So I want to take this opportunity just to invite Teresa Mboro to take us through lesson 6. Let's engage with her, and let's ask questions where we need be, where we feel we need to ask, where we need to enrich the discussion, either through the chat or when we have the opportunity to also voice out any contribution. We'll be glad to invite you to do that. So Teresa, it's my pleasure to welcome you to take us through this discussion. Welcome.
Good evening, leaders. I am delighted to be here, and I'm taking you through leaders vis-a-vis managers. Actually, I'm pleased because whatever you are sharing, it's about leadership. The one who is pushing you, they can see a talent or something in you. That is why you feel that you are always picked when a task comes, and that whoever picks you can see that there is a leadership potential in you. There is something in you, and they want to unleash that potential so that you can give the best. So I'm really delighted to be here. So I want us to take you through leadership, leaders versus managers. So first of all, we can start by defining who are leaders and who are managers. So a leader is a person or a person who has the potential to influence and drive efforts of a group towards the accomplishment of goals. So if you have the capability to influence and drive group efforts towards accomplishing set goals or objectives, then that is what we call a leader. Then a manager is or management is a discipline that manages resources in the most effective, economical, and efficient way to achieve a set goal or objective. When we talk about leaders, it rotates around people. It is using people, and we focus on long-term effects, long-term objectives of an organization. As a leader will come up with vision, strategies, improve on competitive advantage, quality, so that at the long run or at the end of the day, the organization is able to move forward. When we come to a manager generally is a person in authority who carries out the following activities, that is planning, organizing, controlling, coordinating, and staffing. And a manager operates with the 5M. The 5M in this case is we have men, so those are people, the human capital. We have money, we have material, we have machine, and methods. So from the onset, you can get a difference that when we come to leadership, we are talking more of people. But when we come to a manager, they are dealing with many aspects in an organization. And that's why we have the 5Ms, the men, money, material, machine, and methods. So that is the difference between a leader and the definition of a leader and that of managers. So we can go to the next slide. We have a pictorial there. And first of all, I would invite every one of us to look at it. And what do you think could be the end result of from this pictorial diagram? What do you think could be the end results? I would wish to invite every one of us to maybe share what they feel could be the end results before we move to the next slide. So, and I'll go alphabetically. So we'll start with Abby Mudeo. What do you think will be the end results of that pictorial diagram?
I think the mouse will get too big to get out of the jar.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, let me invite Dennis Wadia. What do you think would be the end results of that from that pictorial diagram?
The rat would end up taking all the milk, would become big to an extent it would fit in the jar.
Wow, okay, thank you so much. Let me invite, I can see Bernard. Sorry, Bernard, I skipped you. Tell us what your insight, what do you think could be the end results?
Thank you, Madam Triza. The mouse, or for that matter, has no foresight. So he has no focus on where he will be at the end of the bottle. But what it means is he will find himself at the bottom of the bottle, and getting out of the can will not be easy for him. He has no foresight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Esther Derito?
I'm of the same opinion, but the mice will eat, and by the time he's getting to the bottom of the jar, he won't be able to like jump up.
Okay, thank you very much. Esther Wangeshi Mugo? Esther, can you hear us? Then we can go to Hannah Joroge as we await Esther. Hannah, what could be the end results?
I think the lat is first thing, he's very selfish. He doesn't think of the end result. That is one thing. So he's just going to do whatever he's just thinking. At the end of the day, the selfishness will kill the lat. Yes.
Oh, thank you for that insight. JM, what do you think would be the results?
Yes, I actually think the rat will eat the whatever it is that it's eating, and then when it gets to the bottom of the container, it will starve, and it will be unfortunate because there is a point in life where it will have enjoyed plenty, and then it will come a time where it will suffer because of lack of being able to eat anything because it will have exhausted all of that it has.
Wow. Yes, thank you. Maura Kimani shares what would be the results.
Yeah, good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
Yes, I tend to think that the mouse is going to feed on all the content in the glass. And in the long run, there'll be nothing else to feed, and it will just be left alone, lonely, and die. That's what I think.
Oh, thank you for your insight. Rebecca? Kindly share what could be the result from that pictorial diagram. Can go to Susan Wanjiko before we embark on Rebecca and next Wangeshi.
Thank you, team. I think the lat will overfeed itself, finishes everything, goes to the bottom of the bottle, and will be unable to come out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We go to Tabitha Kiberu.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I also think that the rat will eat up whatever is inside there, go to the bottom of the container, and after some time, obviously it has the reservoirs that it will have after having eaten all this, but will not be able to come out of the container, so it shall die eventually. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Teresia Waithira.
Good evening, leaders. I think it will all that it's sitting on the jar and get to the bottom where it will struggle. At the end of it, it will struggle to get out, struggle eating and finishing. Then it will try to get out, but now it has eaten, it's big, it can't, so it struggle at the end.
Thank you so much. Vitalis Ojiabo.
Good evening, leaders.
Share it. Vitalis, can you hear us? Then let's go to Arogoro. Maureen.
I share the sentiments of the other leaders. The mouse will eat, get big, then get to the bottom where it can't jump out. Though I'm wondering how it's going to finish all this without having water to drink. I think it might even die before it gets to the bottom.
Thank you very much. Vitalis, welcome, share your insight. Vitalis, it's your chance. Esther Wangeshi, Mugo. Rebecca. So thank you, leaders, for the insight. Maybe Joseph, you can share with us the next slide so that we can see what are the end results, and you will just realize that all the answers you gave were right. Everyone was able to pick a lesson from that pictorial diagram. So kindly share that with us. The next slide.
Teresa, you can see the slide. The next one.
Yes, I can see it. So from that, you can be able to see that, yes, the mouse was able to consume, but now it is contained in a bottle. And then there are few lessons that we can pick from all what you've said. Those answers are correct. We can go to some of the lessons we have highlighted in the next slide. Those lessons are think with the end in mind. Big picture thinking. So have that bigger picture. Whatever you are engaging in, the activities you are doing, have that big picture. At the end of the day, what do you want to achieve? Be aware of the short-term pleasures that can lead to long-term traps, because like in this case, you can see that the mouse was enjoying eating until it got to the bottom of the jar, and it could not now even move out of the jar, and it got trapped. Instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Sometimes people may go through shortcuts to achieve something, but maybe you don't follow the right or due procedure. So sometimes when you may seem like you are delaying if you are following the right procedure, but at the end of the day, you may enjoy long term other than short term. You may use a shortcut, but it will be short-lived. So you had rather used the longer route, but still get there and enjoy the long-term benefits. All you can see is not all there is. Critical thinking. So if you're planning something, if you're engaging in an activity, you should just see beyond whatever you are engaging in. So we engage our mind critically. Look at all the options out. What are the benefits? What are the consequences? And then think beyond self. How the relationships are key. So don't just do something for your own selfish gains. In this case, because we are talking about leaders, we need to be concerned. Is there mutual benefit for other people? How do I help others to achieve also their goals? How do I elevate others? How do I contribute to other people's success? Because like in this case, you can see the mouse was eating all alone. And maybe this one depicts maybe what even could be in the society. Do you think of the other person when you are engaging in the activities you're engaging in? And then healthy relationships are key. It's good to, as you work, as you lead, ensure that you engage, you connect with people. Connect with people. It is key to our development and our leadership skills. Think how to manage risks and measures. So how do you manage risks? How do you mitigate the risk that may come along in the activities that you are engaging in? What are some of the risks that are involved, and how can you mitigate the risk? If it is so risky, then do you have to use that route, or you can exploit other options? So we can go to the next slide. So we look at now managers versus leaders. In this case, you can see that they are divergent, but we have an apex, meaning that leaders, there is somewhere they synchronize up there. A manager and a leader, they synchronize up there, but they have divergent ways. But at the end of the day, there is, other than the two people you are seeing going different ways, they are going different ways because they may carry out different functions. But at the end of the day, they synchronize up there. Because at the end of the day, there are some objectives, there are some goals that are to be achieved in an organization. Next slide. So we have a leader there. A leader, we can see he's working with the fellow teammates. And in this case, it tells us a manager lights a fire under people. Leaders light a fire in people. What does that mean? Managers light a fire under people. They may push you, but they have an agenda. Let's say, for example, if there are financial targets or goals that are to be achieved. They may push you, managers will push you to ensure that the organization is able to hit the targets and achieve. And in this case, they push you without maybe themselves participating in whatever you are doing. But when we come to leaders light a fire in people. What does that mean? They see the talent, they see the strength in other people, and they try to unleash their potential. They maximize on the potential of other people. They contribute to the success of other people. They are pushing you, yes, to your limits, to give your best, so that other than the organization gaining, other than only the organization gaining from you, both of you, there is a mutual benefit between a leader and between an employee and the organization. As you're pushing to achieve the goals of an organization, you're also pushing yourself to unleash your potential. They ensure that leaders ensure that you maximize your potential. They bring out the best in you, and they create a conducive environment where everyone is able to grow. A leader sees a better future and is willing to pay the price to bring that future to reality. So a leader is someone who can sacrifice. They sacrifice to ensure that they bring out the best, and they pay the price to bring that future into reality. In this case, you can see from that pictorial diagram, we have work. A leader is working with the teammates to ensure that they achieve an objective. A leader walks the talk. A leader demonstrates. A leader shows the way. This is how it is supposed to be done. They are not afraid to fold their sleeves, to work with the team to ensure that at the end of the day, we achieve that goal. But managers in this case, you can see that the employees in this case are struggling on their own. Maybe at their point, they are able to give commands. They are able to rule. They're able to push the employees, but without direct engagement with what the work the employees are working on. Management works in the system, leaders work on the system. So managers ensure that you follow systems, you follow procedures, and you follow the set structures. But leadership works on the system. For a leader, they look at the overall benefit. At the end of the day, this system, is it effective? How can everyone gain from the system? Are there other alternatives or possibilities that can make the systems better? So in this case, they look at the system and evaluate how can we make the system better? They are able to come up with this, innovate, and come up with changes to make the system better. But on the issue of a manager, they work to strengthen, to maintain the status quo, to maintain whatever the systems and structures. They ensure that employees don't deviate from the set policies and guidelines. But for leaders, they sometimes deviate, as long as it is meant for the overall good of the organization and overall good of the people. They deviate a little bit. So we go to the general major differences between a manager and a leader. So leadership and management are distinctive and complementary systems of action with unique functions and characteristics. So we are saying that management and leadership, there are some distinct, when it comes to functionality, there are some distinctive functions, but we also have others that are complementary, that help. They work hand in hand to ensure that at the end of the day, they synchronize somewhere to achieve the set goals and objective of an organization. So as we proceed, we will be able to see what are those distinctive functions and some of the complementary functions between a leader and a manager. Number two, the challenge is to balance strong leadership and strong management to complement each other. So the greater challenge that we have is how do we blend in leadership and management so that we can complement each other and achieve the overall goal. Remember that a manager will will ensure that day-to-day activities are done and whatever. But and when it comes to a leader, he sets long-term goals, strategic plans, the vision, the mission. At the end of the day, they are going to the same direction. Only that one is short-term, another one is long-term. How do we ensure that we blend in the two so that we have a strong management, and we have a strong organization and then the strong leadership and strong management to complement each other, such that there are no fights, because we need both. We need managers, we need strong managers. We need leaders and we need strong managers. But how do we blend? How do we ensure that both of them, they complement each other? Then we have both leadership and management involve communicating, problem solving, and decision making at different degrees. In point number 1, remember we said there are some of them which are complementary systems. So in this case, you can see both leadership and management. These are some of the similarities. Both leadership and management, they involve in communicating, because as a manager, he has to communicate. If it is tasks and whatever, he has to communicate to people. This is how I want things done. These are the guidelines. These are the set structures. These are the policies. When it comes to leaders, they have to communicate, because we said leadership rotates around people. So he has to communicate to ensure that they achieve results. They have to communicate. Then we have problem solving and decision making. All of them, when it comes to a leader, he has to look at what are some of the problems they're encountering and come up with ways to mitigate or solve those problems. When it comes to a manager, the day-to-day challenges that the organization is facing, it has to come up with solutions on how do I solve this problem. And then when it comes to decision making, they make decision. A manager makes decision and a leader makes decision, but at different degrees. So a leader may make decisions which are long-term. Maybe if it is change, maybe it is change of organizational culture. They look at the long-term. And again, we have a manager who will make the decision. Day-to-day running of the organization relies more on management. So they have to come up with decisions that are supposed to ensure that the organization runs effectively and efficiently. A manager sees things as they are, pleasant, but a leader sees things as they should be, futuristic. So a manager will see things. Let's say if at the end of the day, let's say, for example, if it is a bank, you have set a goal for maybe they're supposed to hit these profits margins or something like that. He ensures that day-to-day activities that will ensure that at the end of maybe that month, we are able to achieve the set goals. But a leader sees things as they should be futuristic. Maybe at the end of the day, we want to be a bank that is leading in the whole country, or a pace setter. What are some of the strategies that we can put in place today and to ensure that we achieve long-term goals? So the manager sees the present. He ensures that the present day activities, tasks, and duties are performed as per the guidelines. But a leader will see things as they are supposed to be. What do you envisage as an organization? What do you envisage to be in the long term? We go to the next slide is general major differences between a manager and a leader. So what are some of the major differences? We can say management involves planning. And planning, we say, is ascertaining prior what to do and how to do it. So a manager, day-to-day activity, they ensure that they plan what should be done and how it should be done. What are the duties and activities that are needed? What are some of the resources that are needed? Who are the human capital we can allocate to those duties and tasks? Then we come to organizing. It is deciding ways in which plans will be implemented. You have already come up with plans, but which one do you give a priority? What are some of the resources you are going to allocate to those plans? And which one, the order in which those plans should be implemented? And they also deal with staffing. Staffing, in this case, they ensure that the organization is not understaffed and it is not overly, or it does not have surplus employees. It ensures that there is optimal number of staff in an organization to achieve the objectives of an organization or to achieve the set goals. And then we come to coordinating. This is coordinating is bringing different elements of something into a harmonious and efficient relationships. So we have different functions in an organization. How do we ensure that how they interdepend on each other to achieve the set goal, the overall objective of the organization? How do we ensure that they coexist in a harmonious and efficient relationship to achieve that objective? Controlling, how do we ensure that the manager ensures that you follow the set guidelines, the structures, the procedures, the systems put in place to ensure that we achieve the objective. In the middle there, you can see the some of the shared or overlapping duties of between a manager and a leader. We have communicating, as I earlier highlighted, all of them are dealing with people at different levels, so they have to communicate to employees on what should be done. Problem solving. The manager will solve problems on day-to-day running of an organization, while a leader will come up with the decision or problem solving, will solve problems that are have a long-term effect on the organization. And then we have decision making. They all have to make decisions. The manager is supposed to make a decision on day-to-day running of an organization, while a leader will make a decision that will affect an organization in the long term. And then we have influencing, the functions of a leader, influencing. And what is the influence? The capacity to have an effect on the character, development, and behavior of someone. So how do you ensure that the people you are working with, because we say leadership rotates around people, how do you ensure that you influence, or the capacity, you do have the capacity to affect on the character, development, and behavior of someone? If someone is not having the right behaviors, how do you influence them in a positive way so that they change their character and they have the best character to achieve the set goals and objectives? Then we come to motivate. This is boosting the morale of employees to achieve set goals and objectives, such that the employees feel engaged, they feel catered for, they feel valued. When they feel valued, you boost their morale, and they feel part and parcel of an organization, and that enables them to achieve the set goals and the objectives. Then we come to a leader also inspires, inspiring. What is inspiration? When you inspire someone, it is that spontaneous urge to do something creative, commanding the brain to actualize an idea, to do it better, to better one's life. So you may engage on something that challenges you, that from that challenge, a positive challenge, that it brings a spontaneous urge in yourself, and it makes you to become creative. Are there better ways that I can improve whatever I'm doing, so that you can improve on your maybe productivity, on yourself, on your functions? So that spontaneous urge will enable you to go further, to better your life, and to better the overall goal of an organization. Then we have creating. Leaders are able to create. They are innovative. They invent. They come up with the best strategies. They innovate. They come up with strategies that can give an organization a competitive edge. They also innovate. They are able also to pick strength in the people they govern. They tell them that they are able to boost their strength, and therefore bring out the best in every employee. And from that, they are able to innovate and come up with measures or best alternatives and possibilities that can be able to catapult the organization in and give it a competitive advantage. And then we have mentoring. Mentoring, it is sharing of knowledge, skills, and experiences with people who are less experienced in an organization. So for leaders, they mentor, they show the less experience, they're able to help them to grow professionally, to attain those skills and experiences, so that they are able to benefit, and at the same time benefit themselves and benefit the organization when they run, and therefore they are able to achieve set objectives. Then we have some outstanding distinctions of leadership and management by Joe Miller. So number one, management is generally seen to involve overseeing day-to-day operations, accomplishing goals and achieving objectives. Let's say, for example, myself, I'm a human resource manager. If the day-to-day organization, for example, if there is leave management, we have payment of salaries, we have calculating and processing pension claims, we have training. So those day-to-day activities, I'll work on them. I'll ensure that a manager will ensure that those day-to-day activities are done. We accomplish set goals at the end of the day and achieving objectives. So the objective set, if at the end of the day I'm supposed to have processed the leave that have come on my table, I'll have to maybe be able to have processed maybe training needs requests that have come on my table. They ensure that day-to-day activities are done in the organization. Leadership spans a wider limit that includes defining a strategy and a vision and influence and inspiring others. So for leadership, it spans a wider limit. It will include coming up with strategy. And what is a strategy? A declaration of intent. We want to maybe achieve, or we envisage this I'm to be somewhere in the future, maybe in 5 years' time. And how are we going to get it? If you want, for example, if I'm working in a bank and I want maybe that to be the best bank in the country, or maybe East and Central Africa. What are some of the activities that I'll engage in? They come up with those activities. And then the vision is that declaration of intent. This is what I envisage. I want this organization to be the best financial provider in the country. Then that is what I envisage. Then I come up with the strategies. What will enable me get there? I come up with plans on how I'll get there. And then we have influencing. You influence the capacity to have a positive impact on people's behavior and character. And then we have inspiring. You challenge people to think beyond and to do something better, to better their own lives and that of the organization. Managers rely on position authority, whereas leaders exercise interpersonal influence. So managers, we rely more on position authority. The fact that I'm a manager, I should command you and do this, this, and this. Whereas leaders exercise interpersonal influence. For leaders, they connect with employees. They connect with the teammates, such that now from that, they are able to learn. Remember that people do what they see others doing. So they'll copy more of that action. What are the leaders doing? And from that, they copy a lot from a leader. So they are able to follow the footsteps of a leader. But for a manager, you follow because there is, that is the position. They will exercise their authority based on that position. And then you will have to follow because they are set rules and regulations, not out of volition, but out of following set rules and regulations. Managers are inclined to control, while leaders inspire trust. So managers will follow procedures, systems. They will follow set guidelines, while leaders inspire trust. From that, leaders on the other hand will want you to follow voluntarily. They want to challenge you to be better. They want to unleash the potential in their team workers. They want to maximize. They want to see the best in other people. So in that, they inspire trust. And from that trust, they are able, employees or teammates are able to put the best effort and therefore achieve the set objectives. Managers focus on execution, while leaders focus on developing and empowering others. So managers will ensure that something is done. It doesn't matter. The end will justify the means. So they have to ensure that things are done. Using the set procedures and using policies and guidelines, they ensure that you execute your roles and duties. While leaders focus on developing and empowering others. Leaders want you to function. They want you to be productive. But on that, they still want, they're interested with the success of their team members. They want to bring out the best in you. So from that, they push you to unleash that potential so that you're able to develop, grow as a person. As much as you're growing the organization, grow at a personal level, you're able to grow. They empower you. This is ensuring that these people, they are able to grow and develop in their career and profession. Managers roll out tasks while leaders share a vision that is motivating and meaningful. So for managers, I'm saying if, for example, today I'm a manager, I'll share out tasks. For example, if I'm dealing on, I'm a human resource officer, I'm dealing with processing of leave, training, salaries, and whatever. I'll allocate those duties to individuals. While leaders share a vision. Leaders want to tell us these are our day-to-day activities, but there is an overall. We want to be somewhere in the next 5 years. In the next, this is where we would want to be. That vision challenges you to not just doing your day-to-day activities, but how can you make it better? What do we envisage as an organization? If we have to be the best financial provider in the market, then what are we supposed to do different? Then what are we supposed to, we cannot just be doing same things and we want different results. So what can we do better? Then number 7, managers administer while leaders innovate. Managers ensure that things are done on day-to-day activities, so they administer, they allocate duties while leaders innovate. Leaders look at these are the day-to-day activities, but how can they be done better? How can we look at the tasks and activities we engage in and come up with best alternatives with other possibilities so that we can get a competitive edge? And at the end of the day, we are able to grow as a person and as an organization. So they come up with other best alternative methods. Number 8, we have managers replicate while leaders create. Managers are trained to ensure that you follow the culture as it is, and they copy paste what has been done. If the former manager, the way they were carrying out their duties, the incoming one ensures that they do the same way as the outgoing or the former leader, the former manager. But a leader will create. A leader looks at the day-to-day maybe activity, and they come up with ways to make things better. They invent. They are innovative. They come up with ways to make things better. Managers focuses on systems and procedures, while leaders focus on people. As I said from the onset, that managers will focus more on systems. We said the 5 M's of managers. They deal more with men, money, materials, methods, and machines. So they will come and ensure that the systems that were put in place, the procedures that were put in place are what they focus on more. While leaders focuses more on people. Leaders appreciate that human capital is the most important resource in an organization, and therefore they focus more on people. They focus on empowering people. They focus on the general success of people. They will create a conducive environment for people to give their best. They unleash the best potential in people. They will rejoice in other people's success. They look for strength in people and ensure how they look at how can we capitalize on people so that we achieve results. They focus on adding value on people. How can we add value on these people so that they enable us achieve the set objective? Manager relies on controls while leaders inspire trust. I think that was a repetition. So we said managers relies more on control. They rely more on procedure set. This is how things should be done. So they control, they ensure that no one deviates from the set guidelines, set policies, set structures. They ensure that whatever you do, you are in line with set guidelines, policies, and procedures. While leaders inspire trust, sometimes they may deviate a little bit from the set guidelines and procedures so that they ensure they challenge you. They want to see the best in people. So out of that, sometimes they may deviate a little bit from set guidelines and procedures. Managers have a short range view, while leaders focus on a long-term range perspective. So as we are saying that managers will ensure that day-to-day running of an organization is effective and efficient, which is short-term. But how about the long-term? What are some of the strategies? What is our vision? What is our mission? That is long-term. Maybe we're talking of maybe in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, where do we want to be? They focus more on long-term. They look at long-term perspective. For example, you look at, I think there is a time there was an outcry where we had people going to a certain hospital, and that hospital would maybe force a patient to be admitted because they were given targets, some of the targets that at the end of the day, we need you to have achieved this target of maybe financials or whatever. So for a manager, maybe he will come up with strategies or come up with means to ensure that at the end of the day, they hit the target. So you go there, even if you are a patient who was not, you are not supposed to be inpatient, they come up, they devise ways to convince you that you are supposed to be an inpatient so that they can gain financial gains. But when we come to a leader, a leader in this case, what will they think about? They will think this way of doing things may not be sustainable. So they may look at the long term. What do we want? If these are some of the set financials that we want to achieve, can we invest in quality? Can we ensure that we give best services so that at the end of the day, we are able to get sustainable development goals in the organization? Managers accept and maintain the status quo, while leaders challenges status quo. So managers, because they are focusing more on policies and guidelines, they ensure that they maintain. If you try to deviate, you go the wrong way. So they ensure that the status quo is maintained. If it is the way the procedure that is followed to do things is the same procedure. The set guidelines, the policies, the structures, they ensure that you follow to the latter. Well, leaders challenge the status quo. Sometimes the leaders feel that the policies or the guidelines that you have put in place are not effective. How can we make them better? How can we change them to ensure that at the end of the day, we're able to achieve the set goals and objectives? If there are some of the procedures or guidelines that are maybe oppressive to people, they are able to change so that they ensure that the human capital in the organization is not oppressed. So there is challenge, and they want to change the status quo so that at the end of the day, the organization is able to benefit and an employee is able to benefit. Managers do things right, while leaders do the right thing. So managers will do the right thing, even if sometimes they have a conviction that whatever I'm doing, this is not the way it should be done. But they still focus on that. The manager will do things right because they feel this is the way, while leaders do the right thing. Sometimes you have to go against set rules and guidelines as long as you feel that an inner conviction. And you find that in most cases, leaders are accountable to the authority, and they are also accountable to a higher deity. They subscribe to some faith and religious belief that they feel I am accountable to a higher deity. From my conscience, from my instinct, is that the right thing to do? So sometimes leaders will do things, they may deviate from set guidance and procedures as long as they feel that this is the right thing to do. In summary, we have differences, leadership vis-a-vis management. So we have leading and managing. So when we come to leaders, we are saying that they focus more on vision and strategy. As I said, a vision is what you envisage to be. In the long term, what do you envisage to be? Strategy, these are plans. And of how am I going to achieve? If this is the vision, how am I going to achieve that? Managers, on the other hand, they focus more on policies and procedures, the set guidelines and the way things should be done. They focus more on that. Then we have leaders create value. Well, managers are able to count value. So when we are saying creating value, we are saying that in this case we want the individual employees to benefit. We create value that is sustainable, that has a legacy. We ensure that a leader will ensure that the value from there is something that is sustainable, and it is for mutual benefit between an employee and an employer. While for a manager, the accounting value. In this case, we are saying that it doesn't matter whether it is oppressing an employee or whether an employee is not benefiting from that, but they have to count value. If it is a financial target, do you achieve it? It doesn't matter the means. The means, even if it is oppressive to an employee, they want to just know that you have contributed or you have hit your target. And then we have leaders influence and inspire. Well, managers use power and control. So we said influence, that capability to ensure that you affect people positively, you affect their character, their behaviors in a positive way, and you challenge them to be better. Well, managers, they use power and control. If you don't follow the rules, set guidance and whatever, we are going to sack you, or we are going to write you a show cause. So they use that, the position they are given as authority, to ensure that if you don't follow, I'm going to write you a show cause letter, or I'm going to sack you, or I'm going to interdict you. Then we have follow. They have followers. Well, managers have subordinates. Followers in this case, they are people who engage with a leader they connect in a deeper way. A leader will foster a good and relationship with their followers. They ensure they listen to them. They listen to their concerns. What are their deep-rooted needs? Well, we have subordinates. Subordinates, remember, this is someone at a higher level, and this one is someone at a lower level. They may not be able to engage. Other than official work, there is no much further engagement, and the manager may not be interested to find out what are some of the deep-rooted needs of this junior officer. Then we have leading people. Leaders lead people. Well, managers manage work. So we said from the onset that leaders focus more on people, while they ensure that the general success of people or employees, other than they want you to achieve the goal, but they will focus more on motivating the employees, ensuring they unleash your potential. You maximize your potential. So through maximizing your potential, you enable the organization to achieve an objective, and you as a person, you are able to develop. Well, managers manage work. They ensure tasks, roles, duties are executed effectively. Then we have the charismatic style. So they have, for leaders, they have a charm that attracts people to them without use of forceful rules and regulations. Well, we come to management, they use authoritarian style to manage people. They are authoritative because there are some set guidelines that they feel you should follow. So you are forced to follow those guidelines. They are forced to do something, not out of volition, but you are forced to. And you see, for charismatic style, people will generally be attracted to someone who cares about them, to someone who connects deeper with them. Unlike an authoritarian, because of that position, they have been given power maybe to sack you, to write you a show cause letter. So in this case, we see that the authoritarian style, people follow because there's some punitive action if they do not follow. But for charismatic, they follow voluntarily. They feel attracted to a leader. Leaders risk and change. They take risks and they are change seekers. They come up with risks. We say they challenge the status quo. What can be done better? What can give us a competitive advantage? What are the best alternatives? So they are able to take risks, and they look for change for the betterment of employees, for the mutual benefit between an employee and an organization, for an employee, for both the employee and the organization to benefit. But we have for managers, they risk averse and they look for stability. When a leader does find some risks, they try to avert, to ensure that the risk does not, they don't come up with mitigative, or they come up with mitigative measures. How can we avert the risks? How can we run away from that risk so that they ensure stability in the organization? They ensure that the procedures, set guidelines, whatever, they are followed to the letter. And in that way, they are not able to risks. For leaders, they appeal to the heart. They look at people, they connect with people. Well, for managers, they appeal to the head. They want you to engage their mind so that you can produce results. And then the leaders are proactive, well, managers are reactive. Leaders can be able to foresee things in the future, and therefore they come up before risks get them or something. They are able to come up with measures maybe to counter that before a certain disaster hits them, or before there are some consequences and dangers in the world. They are able to come up with measures to mitigate those risks. Well, the managers, they wait for maybe disasters or something to happen so that they can look at reactive measures to counter the same. The leaders set directions, while managers plan details. So leaders guide and they show people this is the way to go, this is how to do it. They set the way, they demonstrate. While managers plan, they come up, this is how we are going to go about it. Raising expectations. Leaders raise expectations. They keep people hopeful. They show, they inspire people, and therefore they boost their morale. They show them hope, and managers maintains the status quo. As long as these are the targets or whatever you are supposed to achieve, no matter the means. Leaders ask questions. Managers give directions. So leaders will ask questions. How about doing it this way? What do you think? They ask why and what should be done. Then in summary, we have leaders and managers. Leaders change while managers look for stability, as we have explained, because managers are more of following procedures, set guidelines, policies, while leaders will come up with the changes to make the work environment better, to make the organization achieve competitive advantage. They will come up with better and quality means. Leading people and managing work. So leaders will lead people. So they show people, they direct people, this is how it should be done. Managers, on the other hand, they show what should be done. These are the tasks. If it is about leave management, this is how it should be done. They distribute the work. But for leaders, they show people what should be done. Then leaders is about long-term. We say long-term in terms of vision, mission, strategic plans. While managers, they look at day-to-day activities of an organization. Then leaders will focus more on vision, while managers look at the objectives. What are some of the vision is, as we say, is what we envisage to be in future. Where objectives may be even, maybe daily set objectives, like today, these are some of the profit margins we want to hit. Then personal charisma, and then formal authority. We said leaders, they are able just to attract people because they have a deeper concern for people. While managers are form of the fact that they occupy a certain position, they feel that they have the authority, and that they use that authority based on punitive measures. Then we have leaders act out of passion. They are passionate of what they do. They are passionate, something intrinsic, something deeply seated in their hearts. They want to achieve a certain objective. While managers control, they ensure that procedures, guidelines are followed so that you don't deviate from day-to-day activities and achieving the set goals. Leaders thrive. Leadership is about sacrifice. Sometimes just going that extra mile beyond your role and whatever. So they strive to get those success. They strive to make people better. They strive to make an organization better. While managers take action. Managers ensure that, for example, if we have something that has not been done right, they will take action. maybe write you a show cause letter, but maybe for a leader may take time internalizing what is the best way maybe to deal with a situation. They sometimes forego whatever they should have been done and they give more sacrifice. And then we have achievement results. So leaders look at achievement. Achievement at the end of the day, what is the legacy? What is the long-term effects? What are some of the sustainable measures that we can ensure that they are felt long-term, even when a leader has exited? Those long-term effects can be felt. Well, managers ensure there is results in a way that sometimes they don't care the means. Even if sometimes the means may be quite oppressive to employees, they ensure that at the end of the day, if you are supposed to hit a certain financial target, I don't know at the end of the day the means you use, but I just want you to get those set results. As we said, leaders take risks, and while managers minimize risks. The leaders will take risks because they want to drive change in the organization, while managers want to maintain the status quo. They want the set guidelines, procedures, and structures to be followed. Leaders seek the truth, while managers establishes the truth. And leaders know what is right, and managers being right. Leaders, because they have a passion, they are passionate, they have compassion. And I said, in most cases, leaders are accountable to a higher power. They ensure that whatever is right, something speaks in their heart, what is right to be done. While a manager looks at the set procedures and guidelines. This is the right thing to do because as per these procedures, as our guidelines, this is what should be done. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. But my appeal to you is how can we need to look at ourselves and look at how can we blend the same. If you are a manager, for example, you find in most organizations, our roles and duties, whatever we've been given roles of a manager. But we should go that extra mile to ensure that we look at the people or the team workers, the teammates that we work them. Do we come up with the means that are for the general success of the organization and the general development of that employee? How can we incorporate that? We ensure we have compassion. We ensure that we have empathy. We ensure that we are generally concerned. We speak to the needs of our employees. We ensure that we speak to their needs. We genuinely care about them. We are able to show them empathy. We are able to bring about the best in employees, so that at the end of the day, we are able to synchronize up there. So we blend between management and leadership, because once we bring, we are able to manage employees or the people, the human capital in an organization. We are assured of success. So my appeal today is to ensure that all of us, let us strive to be a blend, a hybrid of a leader and a manager. Let us be concerned. At the end of the day, the basic line is someone is a human being. That employee, that junior staff is a human being. So appeal to their needs, genuine care about them. And with that, I know our agenda on even in this course is about leadership. We will be able to bring about the best in people, and we will be able to empower them to unleash their potential. We will be able to leave a legacy. And that is my plea this night. I submit. Thank you so much.
Wow. Teresa, that was really awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Thank you for the challenge. And leaders, it's always good just to know who do we have in terms of strength. Are you a strong leader or are you a strong manager? And I would invite you just to share, this is part of self-awareness. So from the information that we now have, in addition to what you already knew and what you have had today, where would you position yourself? Are you in terms of strength? I know you could be a hybrid, yes, of a manager and a leader, but if you are to really authentically just analyze yourself, would you say you are a strong leader or a strong manager? So I will invite you just to share on the chat. For a leader, you could just put an L. For a manager, you could just put an M. Even as we scan also within our places or work environment and all that. The reason why we felt this discussion is important is because it's good to have a blend, as Teresa has said, and it's also very dangerous when we have an organization that probably we find we are all managers and we don't have a leader. Then that really becomes a worrying situation, because we need to have leaders who will keep on focusing us into the future, and we need to have managers who will tell us, no, we need to be more efficient in what we are utilizing. So as we share on the chat, let's watch this clip as we share on the chat, just to sum up all that we have learned, and then towards the end we'll have some questions for Teresa. But for now, let's look at this clip on the same topic, just to sum up everything.
Hi, welcome to Education Leaves. In this,
are you able to get the audio and see the clip? Someone could confirm?
Yes, we're able to see.
Great. So let's watch this clip together.
Video, I am going to discuss leadership versus management. Let's start the video. While many of you may think that manager is also a leader, so these two terms mean the same, but actually not. Maybe there is some overlap between the work that managers and leaders do, but these two terms have different meaning, and they should not be used interchangeably. Both imply a unique set of skills, characteristics, and functions that share a few similarities. They also show some strong differences in some circumstances. For example, some people lead without a managerial role, while some managers do not practice leadership. We can define leadership as a process of social influence, which maximizes the efforts of others towards achieving a goal or a specific target. It is the art of motivating a group of people. On the other hand, management is the art of work done through people, with the satisfaction of the public, employer and the employees. I have discussed management in another video, check that video in the description. Leaders set the goal, managers follow it. When it comes to setting and executing a company's vision and aims, leaders and managers have different roles. Most leaders have a clear vision of the position of their organizations in the future. However, they are not the only ones who are responsible for fulfilling the vision. Here, managers play a significant role. Leaders transfer the company's mission, goal, and vision to the entire organization, and managers are responsible for keeping employees aligned with the core company's goals and values. Leaders think ideas, managers think of execution. Leaders are looking for improvement in the organization, while managers emphasize rationality and control. A leader always comes up with new ideas and delivers that to a person with a forward-thinking mindset. Basically, leaders look for answers to why and what, while managers look for answers to when and how. Therefore, the manager's primary responsibility to complete their tasks and reach their goals based on the leader's vision. Managers' job to make their employees feel free so that they can share their voice. Leaders are concerned with ideas relating more high level, while managers relate to people according to the role they play in a decision-making process. Leaders' attention to what should be done to achieve the best results, and a manager's attention to how to get done. Leaders form the culture, managers support it. When it comes to the organizational culture, the difference between management and leadership is that managers lead their employees to live up to the culture, which was shaped by the leaders. Inspiring leaders have the power to influence employees' behaviors, and communicate the organizational culture company-wide. So, driving employees to live by the company's core value and culture is impossible without the collaboration between management and leadership. Leaders inspire people, managers push them to their success. Leaders have the great power to inspire people, and managers are responsible for their success and positive experience. When leaders are unable to inspire their employees, managers take the responsibility to help their people succeed. If an employee works effectively within his workplace, it is the result of honesty, open and transparent communication between the leader, manager and employees. Leaders peek into the future, managers take action in the present. Leaders are basically more future-focused while managers are more focused on the present moment. Therefore, the manager's most important target is to come through organizational goals by utilizing procedures around budgeting, staffing and organizational structuring, while leaders tend to think ahead and capitalize on future prospects. In a business, it is important to have both great managers and leaders. The organization needs a good leader to achieve its mission, and a good manager to ensure the things are getting done to reach the company's vision. If you want to read in details or download the PDF, go through the link.
Good, I think that one summarizes everything that Trin has taken us through. Very clear summary. I'm just looking at the chat. I see we have quite a number of leaders. We have hybrid, we have manager. And remember we said they are distinct and they complement each other. Both of them are very critical, very important. The issue is to ensure that we have a balance of the same, because assuming you are a very strong leader, you also need someone who will just ensure that the day-to-day aspects are well taken care of. Yeah. So I want to request that if you have a comment, if you have a question on this subject, just share on the chat so that we could just move straight away to the next discussion of today. Then we'll summarize everything towards the end. I trust that is okay with all of us. So let's just share on the chat any comment, any observation from today's discussion as we move on to the next session of the day. If you also have a take home, you could also feel free to share a take home. I also invite you to think of who do you think has been one of the strong leaders in our times globally. Is there an example that you would share as an example of a strong leader globally? And is there another example you could share as an example of a strong manager globally? Just think about that and then feel free to be able to share. Lisa, we'll finalize together towards the very end. In case there are any comments, I think we'll address them together as we summarize. So I guess we just hold on until we finish. Otherwise, leaders, let's transition to the last discussion of tonight. And tonight we want to build up on so far what we have covered. If you look back, you see the triple loop, the double loop, the single loop connected with what we have talked about today. But again, as leaders, I think it's important just to have a historical understanding of how has leadership evolved over the years. So I'll take you through just a journey, just to appreciate where have we come from as leaders, and also what are some of the key lessons that we can pick across this journey of leadership in terms of the evolution of leadership. So the lesson is divided into two. We have three categories of leadership, and then the evolution of leadership. I'll not spend a lot of time on the three categories. I'll just mention them. We'll spend some more time on the evolution of leadership. And as we get into the discussion, we're talking about the history of leadership. I'll just post a few comments, a few quotes. And from my historical background, I invite you to probably identify who said what, who we attribute these statements to. So I'll do this a bit quickly. We have the first comment there, or the first quote: "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Who said this? Could you guess the leader? Then let's combine the two of them. The second one: "Do not wait for leaders, do it alone, person to person." So let me invite you just to take a guess on this, or just share the answer if you know. If you're answering one, you could just put one and then write the name. If you're answering the second one, you could put two and then just write the name. Yeah, so ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Again, also, let's reflect on the message, because the message is also quite strong. Teresa, I get you. I get you. The first one is John F. Kennedy. The second one is Mother Teresa. You are right. Yeah, the second one is Mother Teresa. Do not wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. Actually, it continues to say the leader you are waiting for may never show up. So if there is something to be fixed and you are around there, you can take the initiative to fix it. We have another set here. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And then if you judge people, you have no time to love them. Could we take a guess on this two? Again, you could just indicate one. This is the answer. Then number two. Yeah, so a leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. I'm sure this one we can remember. We talked about this at the very beginning. And then if you judge people, you have no time to love them. Could we take a guess of this two set? Then we move on to the another set. Yeah. Okay. Any guess on this? Yeah. So allow me just to bring them up. So the first one is John C. Maxwell, and I can see on the chat. Yes, Bernard, you're right. The first one is John Maxwell, and then the second one is Mother Teresa. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Mr. Mwangi. We have another one here. If it falls you a lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures, like Shakespeare wrote poetry, like Bob Vaughan composed music. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. This is about excellence in leadership, excellence in what we do. Could we take a guess on this as well? Who do you think said this? Yeah, take a guess on this. Okay. So just trying to reflect on the history of leadership and all that. Esther, yes, Esther, I see your guess. Shakespeare, I see your guess there. Actually, this is by Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, I like the answers. Yeah, a lot of reflection. Yeah, this is Martin Luther King Jr. We have another one here. A real leader uses every issue, no matter how serious and sensitive, to ensure that at the end of the debate, we should all emerge stronger, more united than ever before. Very, very strong message again here. This is an African president, a former African president, who believed in this message. He lived this message out. The entire of his life was a peacemaker. That gives you a hint. Who are we talking about? A real leader uses every issue, no matter how serious and how sensitive, to ensure that at the end of the debate, we should all emerge stronger, more united than ever before. Very, very powerful message, leaders, I believe. And you are all right. This is Nelson Mandela. You are right. You are right. Then, yeah, I suppose leadership at one time meant muscles, but today it's about getting along with people. This is from a leader from India, a leader who used non-violent means to deliver his country. Would you take a guess? Who are we talking about? I suppose leadership at one time meant muscles, but today it means getting along with people. I was reading about the generation of Z, and this is really what they are looking after. Yeah. So I see some, yes, Teresia and Teresa, you are right. This is Mahatma Gandhi. You are right. Then finally, leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It's not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. We are back home. He's a former Kenyan leader, and who really brought a lot of revolution in our country. Leadership is a privilege, and I believe this was probably his philosophy of leadership as well. Yes, Teresa, yes, Teresia, you are right. You're right. This was the third president of Kenya. And with that, allow me just to move straight away. Historically, leadership is categorized or has emerged from three broad categories, either political leadership or religious leadership or military leadership. So if we look at the history of leadership, we'll always find the roots from these three categories. For the political leadership, I'm sure we from our own personal experience as a country, we know what this relates to. And majorly here, political leadership, we say it's a function. Yeah, it's a function, not really a position. And the role is that you as a leader to demonstrate the capability. I don't know how well this one fits within our context, but basically that's what it means. For you to be able to function in this particular function, then you have to demonstrate some ability. They're saying political leadership is about mobilization of the political community so that we are able to formalize or formulate problems, identify problems that we can be able to mitigate. Yeah. So, and this is why you see for the political leaders, in most cases, they will use stakeholders engagements forums just to create this kind of a conversation, then decide which projects we need to fund, because they are trustees. They are it's the citizens to identify the problems ideally, and then it's also the citizens to also identify what are the priority areas. So they are there just to be able to be a bridge between these resources and also the issues that affect the citizen. So for political leadership, we're saying there are 10 most expected qualities for good political leaders. And again, this is also part of reflection. It's part of reflection in terms of how is our political space, how are our political leaders in terms of these qualities, and again, how do we mirror ourselves in terms of these qualities? Because it's not only for the political class, but I think the qualities also could reflect and they concern us as well. So these are the 10 qualities. One, we are saying patriotism. Are we patriotic? Our leaders patriotic? More of a general just outlook. Patriotism, I don't know how you think about that. Good education could be subjective. Honesty, again, what would you say about our political leadership and also us as leaders? Political professionalism, then charisma, then intelligence, responsibility, strength of character, and then service to the people, and then finally bravery. If you have to rank our political leaders, which qualities would you identify as part of their strength? Yeah, which are the strong qualities that they demonstrate from these 10 examples? Yeah, not as the weakness or the weak areas, but I just want you to share what are some of the strong areas that we would share for our political class. But remember, leaders, I'm also inviting us also to reflect on the same. Yeah, so just feel free to share again, share on that. Then we move on to the military leadership. There's a lot to learn from military leadership leaders. This is, I think, most of the leadership aspects have a root, have a connection to the military leadership. And there's a definition there, which you can look at it together. We're saying that it's the art. Yeah, it's the art of influencing, and then you direct people in such a manner to obtain their willing obedience. I always like this: obtain their willing obedience, also respect and confidence and loyal cooperation in order to accomplish the mission. So the influence is what leads to the willingness, the respect, and the confidence, and even the loyalty. Many times we talk about loyalty, but I think when we have a higher view of what we really want to achieve in terms of the mission, probably all these other aspects could be aligned to the mission. So military leadership, we're saying it's also the process of you influence others, or a leader influences others to accomplish one, the mission. I think the mission has to really be very clear. The purpose has also to be very clear, and the direction in terms of what do we see, yeah, and how do we motivate ourselves in this journey. So this is really what now creates that space where we are able to influence the team towards a particular objective. So the issue is that clarity over the mission, yeah, clarity of the purpose. And I remind myself when we were moving to Somalia, you remember, leaders, when we were moving to Somalia, I think it was very clear what was the objective of moving to Somalia. Yeah, when our military leadership, military team moved to Somalia, it was very clear. I'm sure the mission was very clear, the purpose was clear, and they had it in mind. That's why I think sometimes you see them moving to danger. Yes, yet they still continue they still move there regardless of the dangers, because of the clarity of really what they want to achieve. So some of the factors of military leadership, we have the who is being led, who is the leader, what situation are we dealing with, and how are we going to engage? And I think this is an ecosystem of every leadership environment. We have to clarify this. Who is leading, who is being led, what are we dealing with, and then how do we communicate, how do we engage? A leadership ecosystem should be able to clarify those particular areas. Then some principles of leadership. One, we're saying just what we have been talking about. Awareness, yeah, and also continual improvement. Talked about the issue of being tactical and also being technical in terms of competency, yeah, making decisions timely, in a timely manner. Think about military leadership and how that important, how that aspect of making timely decisions is important because of the fragile situation that they deal with. Then being example, a sense of responsibility in a subordinate. We're also talking about ensuring that there is clarity of communication, people understand what they're expected to do, and again the teamwork, very, very important. The aspect of make sure that we are a team, and as a team we can depend on each other. Yeah, I can move forward knowing that my back is well covered. Then we have some leadership traits that relates to military leadership. One, we are saying knowledge. I need to grow in my knowledge. I need to be courageous, to be very decisive. Yeah, very decisive, and dependability. I also need to be dependent. I need to be to have that confidence that others can depend on me as a leader. And I think leaders, this is really, really important. The aspect of dependability on actioning some particular task, on representation, and many other areas. Then endurance, unselfishness, yes, very important. Integrity, and then clarity of judgment. When do I do what? And that element of intuition, and as well as should I call it discernment. So there's quite a lot that we can learn from military leadership, as you can see. And I will invite you just to probably just look at this clip again and just try to pick a few additional qualities that you can note. Then finally, in the three categories, we have the religious leadership, which I believe maybe a number of us are conversant with. And we're saying the religious leaders, they give people the hope, the guidance, and courage they need to stay strong in their faith. And I'm reminded of the COVID scenario, the COVID period, and I think this is really what anchored people. This is what kept most of the people going. Yeah, the religious leaders, they could come out and tell us, we shall overcome. Yeah, the hope. Yeah, and to overcome, what do we need to do? This is the guidance, and then the courage, so that people don't lose hope. So this is really important because we say religious leadership deals with the intrinsic person, the inner person, and the change can only happen when we address the inner the inner person. So for religious leadership, it's about investing in the lives of others to ensure they grow, but importantly, to help them become what they ought to be. We create a space for them to discover themselves and also to be able to manifest themselves. So religious leadership focuses on the issues of shepherd leadership, servant leadership, really important, humility, relationships, and stewardship. And I like always insisting on relationships, because when it comes to religious leadership, sometimes it's not the formal authority, it's the relationship that we build that really makes, sustains a team. Yeah. In the corporate, in the business, in the public government, there are formal processes, code of conduct, and all that. That maintains people. But when it comes to religious leadership, we don't have these things. We don't have. Our member could be today in this church and tomorrow in another. There's nothing that really binds them. So what should really bind the people is the relationships. They need to feel, I need to be there. I've built a relationship, and again, probably there are also other accruing benefits. So that's the three categories of leadership. And we just to give us a background of how leadership has the root. And then we move on now to the evolution of leadership. How has leadership evolved over the years? And this evolution will be guided by some theories. And these theories are also in the manual, I'm sure, the manual and also the book review. So we'll basically do a highlight of the 10 theories that are also in the book to appreciate how, and also to appreciate some of the conversation that we hear in terms of our leaders born, our leaders made. We can now we can connect those to the various theories and then ask ourselves, okay, this person said this, and when was it, and what has happened after that? What else has emerged? So do we still believe this, or are there more current philosophers and leaders that have come, have also come up with different ways in terms of how we reflect and think about leadership? So let's start with the great man theory. This is really where the issue of leaders, the issue of that leaders are born, not made, came from. From this historian Thomas. Yeah. So it's just that leaders are born, not made. So according to him, either you are born a leader or you're not born as a leader. So great leaders will arise when there's a great need, and for you to be a leader, you need to have some natural qualities. Maybe you need to be charismatic, sometimes, and many other factors that could be considered. So according to him, leaders are born; they're not made. Yeah, but there is the second one there, the trait theory of leadership. Again, this also relates very closely to the first one. Great leaders are born, not made. Again, that there's a relationship there, but it introduces the issue of some certain traits. You need to identify some characteristics, traits, or qualities that really, if you find them in a person, then that person can be a leader. Maybe the person is charismatic, then that person can be a leader. So in these philosophers, sometimes they will say, if you're very quiet, maybe you don't have the leadership quality, according to the understanding. But over the years, some of these things have actually been proved. Probably they may not really be they're really true with many other theories that have come up. Yeah. Then we have the skills theory of leadership. I really like this one because according to the skills theory of leadership, to be a leader, you need technical skills, maybe in your domain. You also need people skills, and you need conceptual skills. Yeah, the ability to see the big picture and think strategically. I normally like this because it's so applicable, even current now. I think for me to be really a good leader, I need to have this combination. My technical skills in my domain, then people skills, create a mix of that. Then conceptual skills, just have a big picture thinking and and think strategically. I think it relates so well even in the current leadership thinking. Then we have the style theory of leadership. Yeah, the style theory of leadership. So this is where we have the various styles: democratic, autocratic, transformational, and among the others. Yeah. Then we have a situational leadership theory, and I like looking at the situational leadership theory together with the contingency theory. Yeah, because it really gives the two faces or the flip of each other. So for the situational leadership, it argues that there is no one model that fits all situations. Yeah, the leader must therefore adapt to the situation. So in this case, if the environment is evolving, then the leader has to also keep on evolving. But for the contingency theory, it's about picking the right leader for the situation rather than the leader adapting to the situation. So leaders, you can see the variation. One says, you as a leader evolve. COVID has come. Yeah, you led us in this space. We are now in this new space. Can you now adapt to this space? But the other one says, no, COVID has come. Do we need to pick another leader? Do we need to pick a leader now that can be able to lead us in this environment? And I think this is one area that I would really wish to invite your thoughts. Even if we don't have this discussion now, I think as we pick up next week, we really want to have your thought on this. What is your view on this on these two theories? So kindly just note that. So the style theory of leadership, we have these ones here without really mentioning too much details. Autocratic leadership, yeah, where we have power is centered on the leader. Democratic leadership, power is centered on the people, or decisions are shared. Transformational leadership is about clarity of a vision, clarity of direction. It's more about being inspirational. Laissez-faire leadership, yeah, the hands of leadership. And I think we can associate this with like the third president, Mwai Kibaki, was really a very good example of this kind of a leader. And sometimes it works very well, but there's a catch here. There's a catch here. And the catch is that for you to be able to identify which leadership style fits, you also need to think about the maturity of the people or the maturity of the team. So let me just give you a brief on this. For example, under situational leadership theory, we have some additional leadership styles. For example, telling is a style. Yeah. So the leader tells people. You can see a lot of engagement. You have to work together with people and maybe instruct them closely. Then the second one is selling. Yeah, the leader now sells. The leader selling is about getting the buy-in. Get the buy-in, yeah, and then you step back, and then the people are able to move with a vision or with the idea. Then participating, the leader offers less direction, but again allows the members to take up more action. So it's more of you're now taking a back seat, allowing the team now to be able to self-drive themselves, and then that leads to delegation. Yeah, so this is hands-off approach to leadership. Now, when do you use telling? When do you use selling? How do you choose which style to use? So we choose the style to use based on the maturity level of the team. Yeah, maturity level of the team. And I want you to start thinking about your team at this particular juncture, whatever team you are leading, and just try to see how practical this is. For example, telling will apply to maturity level 1. Group members, maybe in terms of knowledge, they lack in knowledge, skills. It could be leadership, could be technical, and also the willingness to complete the task. So that one we just have to use telling because there's a huge gap here. Selling will work for maturity level 2. Group members are willing and enthusiastic, but the ability is lacking. So we can sell. Here it's possible to sell. It's also possible to build, to be able to work together and see if you can build the capacity. Participating, maturity level 3, group members have the skills and the capability to complete the task, but the willingness, that's where we have a gap. Yeah, and then finally we have delegating. So delegating will work out where you have a group that is highly skilled, so we don't have a challenge with the capacity, and also we don't have the challenge with the willingness. So this one you can step back. because capacity is okay, the willingness is okay. This is a team that can drive itself, or even is a leader who can be able to take responsibility. So this is how we will look at this. And probably again, just look at this, think through this, look practically within the spaces that you are in, and see again how do you work out on this. So then additional stories, we have transactional leadership. Yeah. So transactional leadership is basically based on give and take. Yeah, give and take. You do well, I reward. You fail to meet the target, you get the sanction. So it's about finding the right mix of rewards and also sanction. Yeah, transactional leadership. Give me this, I give you. It's the opposite of relational leadership. Relational leadership is more, it's not just transaction, it's more long term. Yeah. And then transformational leadership, it's about inspiring the team. The key word here is inspiration. Yeah, inspiring each other to be able to advance together. And this could come from maybe how clear I am as a leader. And I see people like Martin Luther King Jr. being an inspirational leader. Yeah, you see the movement that he created in the US. Yeah, then we have leader-member exchange theory. This is about an exchange of probably respect, an exchange of trust, reciprocal trust. Yeah, and an exchange of obligation. You do your obligation, I do my obligation. So it's leader-member exchange theory. Yeah, so it has three domains. One, mutual respect of each other capability, deepening sense of reciprocal trust, and then a strong sense of obligation to one another, the working relationship. So we see that exchange here of those three domains. Then we have a key one here, leaders. Remember, talked quite frequently about servant leadership. This has been also quite repetitive in our discussion. And in the journey, in the evolution of leadership, we place this in the 1970s, but ideally we know this is a timeless concept. It has been there for centuries. Yeah, and we're saying a servant leader is a servant first before he or she becomes a leader. So it's about focusing on serving rather than being served. What happens is that such leaders, they create an environment of trust, cooperation. There is also reciprocal service, and then it leads to higher performance. So even in terms of impact, look at leaders who have made a mark in history. You will always find most of them could be servant leader or could be transformational leaders. Yeah, people trusted them. They felt it's for our good. They are leading us for our good. I remember a story of someone like Moses, yeah, leading the children of Israel from Egypt to Canaan. It was for their good. We are going to a land of our own, flowing with milk, and it's for our own. And leaders, I think this is so important because it also talks about how we sell the vision. Can people own it? Can people feel it is for their good? Yeah. So this is how servant leadership works out, and people follow out of love. People follow because they feel the need to follow. Yeah, there's no compassion, there's no fear for the people to be able to follow. And then finally, as we conclude, we have the global leader. This is what we are talking about. This is now what we're introducing as a global leadership network in this global leadership network masterclass, that we need to embrace a mix of these leadership styles. Most importantly is transformational leadership, which comes with a clarity in terms of a vision. And then ambidextrous leadership, I'll talk about that in the next slide briefly. Then servant leadership, which we have talked about. And also we are adding the issue of purpose-driven leadership. And leaders, this aligns to our vision. Because what do we see as GLN? As GLN, we see leaders who are generational thinkers. Yeah, we see leaders who are purpose-centered. We see leaders who are vision-driven in every home, in every organization, and in every country. So that's what we visualize, and every cohort adds to what we are seeing. That's basically what a vision works out. We're able to visualize it, and we're able to see it are being fulfilled. So for us, it's about how the question here for us all leaders is, how do we create a blend of this? Transformational leadership, servant leadership, purpose-centered leadership, and ambidextrous leadership. And I'll conclude with this, ambidextrous leadership. This comes from the word ambidexterity, which means the ability to use both left and the right hand equally. Yeah. So ambidextrous leadership, we are saying, is a style in which the leader possesses this quality. A leader is able to use the two hands. And what does it mean? It means a dual-focused leadership approach that works toward what is best for the individuals as well as what is best for the organization. So it's not just the organization alone, but we also need to think about the people. And this is what has led to some organizations to really be more of human-centered organization. They really want to take care of their staff, set up a daycare, a baby care within, just to create an environment where we're also concerned about you. So it's a dual, it's an ambidexterity kind of leadership. It also means ambidextrous leadership means also exploring new opportunities, yeah, but also exploiting current opportunities. It's about exploring in terms of long-term goals, but again, at the same time, you also need to note of the short-term goals. So we don't lose sight of the long-term goals, but again, you also don't fail to maximize on the short-term goals. So that's basically what we're saying, the ambidextrous leadership. So for us as Global Leadership Network is about thinking about transformational leadership, clarity of a vision, ensuring we inspire, ambidextrous, being able to have a balance between the two hands, and then servant leadership. It's about being servants first before we are leaders. It's about leading for a purpose. So that's a call to all of us that let's reflect on these qualities. Let's reflect on that blend of leadership. And I'm sure that will scale us up. As Teresa said, we'll not struggle to build a legacy. It will just be so automatic because the kind of leadership will actually speak for itself. We have looked at leaders who are there, and some of them, their footprints can never be erased in the history of the world. They didn't really focus on that, but they focused on just being themselves and getting opportunities to serve. And that was able to scale them to levels that the world can never erase their footprints in the history of the world. That's our prayer for each and every one of us. And I'm sure with that kind of a blend of transformational leadership, a blend of servant leadership, a blend of purpose-centered leadership, a blend of ambidexterity kind of leadership, I'm sure that way, that's how we can be able to embed we can build a better legacy, but more importantly, have an impact and transform the lives of people. So I'll share this leadership challenge as usual through the link so that you can identify what areas do you need to work on as a leader just to ensure that we continue to grow. With that, we come to the end of tonight's discussion, and I know it's been quite a lot. It's been quite a lot, and I'm sure probably there are a few things that you've picked. A lot of reflection, a lot of things to think through. But I want to just summarize this, and I think it's just fair enough to allow us just to conclude together, because I'm sure you may also want just to add your voice, just briefly maybe to what we have shared. So I think it's just fair enough for, as we conclude, just to allow maybe each person maybe a few seconds just to also share a reflection on the same. You could add your voice to what we have discussed. You could also maybe just pick out something that you feel has come out strong and you really want to walk along that, maybe move on and implement, apply and teach and all that. So I'll just do a run quickly and then we wind up. So let me start with Dennis. Dennis, I don't know, any reflection as we conclude that you may wish to share. Then after Dennis, I'll go to I'll go to Reverend Vitalis, and then I'll move on to Abby. So let me start with Dennis. Yes, Dennis. Dennis, you could unmute and share. Hello, Dennis.
Hello.
Dennis.
Yeah, thank you, and for the nice presentation. And today, I think it has been an insightful session, and I have learned and differentiate between a reader and a manager. And my concern would be, I myself, I have identified my weaknesses generally in management as a manager. And is there any point that you can be able to strengthen also the management aspect, or you can only work on your strength that is on leadership and maybe become a strong reader? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. I think that's quite clear. But I think the beauty is, the awareness now is the beginning point. So when we create that awareness, we know where we are, and then we also know some keys that are important. So how do we now boost the various aspects? Because again, I think as I said, our motivation is that we have more leaders in our spaces. That's really our motivation. We have more leaders in the spaces because we have people who are even having a very difficult time in organizations. So sometimes we have, if you noted that picture that Teresa showed, what is close to the heart of a leader is people. Yeah. And sometimes, sad to note, what could be close to the heart of the manager could be the work. So that really could create different environments. Yeah, a leader would really want to bring people together and just ask many questions, have a conversation, and be able to be very patient with people. Yeah, because that's really what is in the heart of the leader. So it's our desire that could we really have a conversation on if we are strong managers, could we also blend this with the leadership qualities, especially so that we are more human-centered as well, and create environments where people feel they belong, they matter, and they can do their best and give their best. So I think that's the kind of thinking that we would share, and let's make it a continuous conversation. I feel we need to pick up some of these things even next week as we move on. Let me move on to Pastor Vitalis and then Abby.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, Pastor, we can get you. Let's try if we can get you clear again. You are muted. Kindly unmute.
Yes. I've learned that the leader, between the leader and the manager, and this has been giving me a problem. But now that I have understood that a manager should blend with the leadership or the leader, I'm so happy that now I can work with the manager easily without pushing each other. And also risk. A manager, they maintain risk, but a leader will take risk, which means a leader will do more things than the manager because they maintain risk in the most cases. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor Vitalis. I think that awareness of even just being able to identify our people and see where they are, their strength, it also reduces some level of conflict because I understand who this person is and I can maybe work with that person as much as maybe I may also want to probably, where possible, upgrade the person where possible. But I appreciate where that person is and I appreciate the strength of that person. I think that's really, really very important. I'll move on to Abby, then Teresia, then Tabitha. Abby, greetings and welcome.
Hello.
Yes, Abby.
What really captured my attention today was the distinctions between a leader and a manager, and I really got to realize that I've been leaning more onto the managerial side because I'm really goal oriented and I focus a lot on controlling risks. A lot of these characteristics about managers really stood out on my character, on where I stand, on the things that I do, and the business that I run. And for the leadership side, just a few things that I do, but I see it in the people who are below me that I task to oversee that we achieve the goals. They're really good at undertaking the leadership roles, but I will work more into achieving a balance as was advised. And the other things that I really liked was understanding the different types of theories for leadership. And I liked the situational leadership theory, which urges that there is no one model that fits all situations. So we don't have to be rigid and focus on just one theory. We need to look into other theories too and consider them while we're doing our leadership roles. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, too, Abby Mudeu, for the insights. Next, I'll invite Teresia Waidera.
Thank you very much for the informative session that we've had. I think just to summarize what I have learned is that both the manager and the leader are working towards one goal, the good of the organization or a business, to see the success of it. And so they should harmonize both the leadership and the managerial roles to achieve the one common goal, and also to lead others. They lead as the others follow, and then they learn from them. So when they harmonize, the results will be positive. That's what I've learned today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresia, and I really appreciate you jump-starting our discussion today, sharing your own personal experience. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Good, then I'll move on to Tabitha, then JM, and then Hannah. Greetings, Tabitha, and welcome. Tabitha, if in a position.
Yes, hello everyone. I would say that I've learned a lot and been able to get the differences between a leader and a manager. And I've noted that it's good to blend the two. As much as you want to become a leader, you also have to, part of the leadership, you have to put into place the managerial skills. And the best of them all is that you be part of the group working. You should not just push the others to work, where you yourself, you're seated and guiding the people, the other people on what to do. So as a leader, I have really been challenged, because sometimes you give tasks for people to do and you wait for the end result. But today I've learned that I should be part of the result. Even though the result is coming out, I should have participated fully as the others participate. Then on the theories, I have realized that there are various theories, but trying to blend them together, you can become the best reader ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fabila, for reflection. Then I move on to Jen and then Hannah. Jen, JM, if you're in a position. Yes, Hannah, I can see Hannah, you are unmuted. You can proceed. Hello, Hannah, are you able to share your reflection? Okay, Hannah, I can see you are unmuted. I don't know. Let's see if we can get you. Okay, maybe we can also try the chat as well. Yes, Hannah, let's try again once more.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can get you. Oh, seem to have lost. Okay, so let me move on to Maureen. Okay, Maureen, probably you could also share your reflection as we conclude. At the same time, Mr. Harrison, I don't know if you have any reflection to share.
Thank you, Chair. The leaders and managers. I think for me, it's just amazing how for the past, say, about 13, 14, 15 years thereabout, I've been so much on managerial mode, and then how I switched without unknowingly. I just felt that urge of, sort of like bringing up others to do what I'm doing. I'm focused on encouraging, inspiring, and guiding, coaching, and all that. And I felt really not so much keen on managing as before. So today's, I think for me, it was an awareness. I'm looking back and I'm now connecting the dots. And I'm like, wow, this is quite real. And it's quite practical. It's making a lot of sense. And it's also amazing that without necessarily going through a form of training like we are having now, or reading a book, life has a way of, somehow intuitively shifts you from one to the other. I'm really excited about that. Thanks.
Yeah, I really like that reflection, and I would also connecting the dots. And I think that's really the beauty, the transformational aspect of this program. Just really making us reflect a lot of introspection, connecting the dots and all that. And I'm happy to note that. So I don't know, Maureen, are you able to share a comment? Then I'll invite Teresa for your final comments, and then we call it a day. Okay, Teresa, any final reflection? Okay, I think we are good.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Think more as much as we facilitate, we also learn and we get deeper meaning for these topics. So I also have some takeaway maybe where I felt there were gaps, and I'm committed to be I'm deliberate and intentional about being a hybrid of a manager, because I have to ensure sometimes that policies and procedures are followed in an organization, but at the same time bring the human aspect. Just ensure that don't go overboard, but remain in line, but we also bring empathy and human value. We ensure the success of others, we mentor others and add value to the life of those who we lead. And about leadership, I've also picked several, especially for servant leadership. We say that if you can serve, you can lead. So everyone can be a leader. If at all you can serve, then you can lead. So I endeavor, maybe that is one of the leadership theory that really stood out for me. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you so much, Teresa, and thank you for your time. Just being here to have this discussion with the leaders. We really appreciate for that. And leaders, with that we come to the end of tonight's discussion. It's a beginning of a reflection moment. We shall share the link. Next week now we'll have the groups so that we can start talking about the project proposal. Otherwise, where we are so far, we're now getting to level 2. And level 2 now will get into the nitty-gritty of leadership, redefining leadership, the roles of leadership, among other things. And also it also helps us just to see among these roles where do we need to boost and improve in terms of our leadership. So we'll have that conversation next week. As usual, if you want to plug into Thursday and learn more, feel free. You want to plug in on Saturday and learn more, feel free just to do that. So with that, we could end and we could conclude with a word of prayer. God, we're grateful. We thank you for the time that we have enabled us to have together as leaders, the conversation that we have had tonight. Our prayer is that whatever we have learned, we need you, God, for us to be able to run, implement, and more importantly, just really experience that deep inside transformation. Because at the end of it all, it's about you. At the end of it all, our leadership is for your glory. And that's our prayer, that where we are weak, make us strong. Where we have challenges, may you enable us to overcome them. Where we need to improve, we position ourselves before you because we know that you have the enablement. We commit ourselves to you. We pray for every one of us. Even as we take a rest tonight, may you be with us and give us a blessed time. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, leaders.
Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night.
Good night to everyone. God bless you.